I was staggered to find out that only 50% of Australians don't have a will. Wow, that's pretty scary stuff, and especially if you're in business. And we're going to look at that this morning. Joining me from Dynamic Law is Maria Linkenbach. Maria, is that right? Only 50% of Australians have a will?
Well, it's hard to get an accurate figure, but I'm certain from my 42 years in practice that there are many Australians who don't have a will and who don't understand the significance of having a will and don't ever anticipate that they'll really need one.
Yeah, well, I guess in private life there's a whole layer of complexity if you don't have a will, but does it become more involved if you have a business?
I think that the more assets you have, the more involved. As with anything, the multiplicity of factors creates, more complications. People in business need to be very, very careful to ensure that all aspects of their affairs are in order and up to date all the time.
One of the things that occurs to me is that in a lot of businesses I talk to, they almost treat their staff like family. And I wonder if someone has a pretty high-profile business, they've had long-term employees, you'd question whether some of those employees may actually make a claim for a portion of the business if there's no will. Is that possible?
Oh, no, that's not possible.
Not possible at all?
No. Making a claim on the estate of a deceased person is covered by state law, and the law varies slightly from state to state, but generally a person, in order to make a claim, has to be a person who has been a member of the household of the deceased person.
Okay, yep.
Business isn't sufficient connection.
No, fair enough. I was thinking, sometimes you see disputes when people die. I had a verbal agreement with this person that they would do this, and it's not documented, so that probably wouldn't stand up?
Well, it depends. If that was a contract, it might stand up, but it certainly won't stand up under the law of succession.
We hear of strange things too, like people leaving things to their cats. Is that, you talk about a part of the family.
No, a cat isn't a person, unfortunately. A cat doesn't have legal person status, so to speak.
So are there any additional complexities for someone in business that they should be aware of in terms of, how they go about doing their will?
Oh, yes. People in business often have run their business through a company. They need to be very sure that arrangements are in place if they were to die for the shares in the company to go to the persons that the deceased would like to think was going to be running the company. Otherwise, the shares fall into the residue of the estate if they're not specifically disposed of, and that can lead to complications in the smooth running, the transition of the business to either the successors of the deceased or for the executors arranging to sell the business or put up the assets.
Well, someone who owns a business may be in partnership or something, they don't have a will and they pass away. What then happens to the business? Who runs it?
Well, if a person's in partnership, the interest in the business belongs to them personally and would go to the nominated beneficiaries in the will or to the successors on intestacy. And it's very difficult. Then there are all sorts of difficulties created then for the surviving partner who is left in a situation where he or she is running the business in conjunction with one or more executors or a collection of beneficiaries who wouldn't necessarily agree.
Yeah, it has the ability to really tie a business up, doesn't it?
Oh, certainly, yes, to prevent anything happening with business. It can stifle just ordinary day-to-day running of the business if, amongst other factors, there are many factors that can stifle the day-to-day running of a business, but certainly having multiple owners in a situation where one partner, particularly if that partner had been a dominant or leading partner in the business, can be very destructive.
Yeah. Maria, I want to thank you for your time today, and if you want to contact Maria, it's Maria Linkenbach, and it's dynamiclaw.com.au. Maria, thank you for your time and your very sound advice.
Thank you.